Yo, what's good? Matter of fact, you already know. Time out is Kelsito, the spirit coach, getting you in shape before for the age of course yet again. Thank you for joining this live. We're going to talk about speaking in tongues and what is speaking in tongues actually, you know what I'm saying? From a occult perspective, just so you can get into the mind frame of like, I think it's a part in the Bible where it's like, if you speak in tongues, then you can do miracles, right? Y'all heard that before. So we're going to get into the actual aspect of what speaking in tongues is and things of that nature and kind of give you the aspect of how you can do this for yourself. You know, and this shit kind of deep, you know what I'm saying? This ain't really for the average, person and things of that nature. So this just going to be a little aspect of how, we do manifest things with the tongue, you know what I'm saying, and our words and vibratory frequencies and vibration, because everything is created with the vibration, everything is created with the word. Okay, so when you get the tongue, shout out to, the second house, which is, represents Taurus. You got your head, you know what I'm saying, which is your Aries, through Pisces, your 12th house, which is your fishies, your feet, your ability to be subconscious, you know what I'm saying, play footsies and things of that nature. That type of shit. Then you got your 7th house, which is your hips. You got 4th house, which is your heart, throat chakra, Gemini area. 2nd house is your tongue, Taurus, and, your mouth and your ability to have value and speak value into life and things of that nature. And then you got, your gut, which is the 5th house. 6th house would be Virgo and things of that nature, which would be connected to your gut, your nervous system and shit like that. And all that correlates to, you being able to have a sense of security within, the nervousness of what is you're feeling within that area of the 6th house, which is stability and stableness and the ability to gain information upon, material. You got your 7th house, like I said, and you got your 8th house, which is your, your genitals and things of that nature. And then you got your thighs, your 9th house, your ability to expand, spread, your knees that hold that up. That's the 10th house. Your ability to, climb up a mountain and shit, Capricorn. You got your 11th house, your shins that hold that up sturdy and shit, like a strong thought and shit like that. Then you got, like I said, your fishies, your 12th house, which is your Pisces. But we're going to talk about speaking in tongues, and which is the 2nd house and things of that nature. So when it gets to the tongue, you got to think everything that's external to us is a representation of something that is internal. Okay, so that's why we can even sense these things. So when you look at something, we got 2 organs that are soft organs on the higher spectrum. So that would be your 7th house through your 1st house. So your higher chakras, your left brain chakras, which would be your 1st house, your head through your 7th house. Then you got the 7th house through the 12th house, which would be, allegory of things going from, daytime to nighttime and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? What you can't see, that's below the horizon, okay? Your 7th house, that's below the horizon. Then you got what's above your horizon and things of that nature, where you, you can see where your headspace is at. So, you know what I'm saying? When it gets to the higher chakras, you have like 2 higher chakras, higher organs that are like sensitive. And one is that will be the 1st house, which will be the eyes, the awareness, your Aries, you know what I'm saying? The eyes, that's connected to imagination and vision and creativity and things of that nature. Then you got your 2nd house, which is connected to pleasure, material and materializing. So when you get into materializing, this is when you get into speaking. And so your tongue is like a soft organ, just kind of like your heart or your insides of your stomach, but it can be within the external realm. So because it can be within the external realm, this kind of gives it a sense of power of something that was very much internal to us being able to come to the external. And so because it is dealing with, you know what I'm saying, that soft tissue, just like we have inside, that in a sense of its own is an allegory to that in general. aka it being able to something being able to us being able to receive pleasure, you know what I'm saying, or to make someone else receive pleasure, you know what I'm saying, by not only just playing within what y'all probably thinking about the eighth house, but also doing that within words and directions and you know what I'm saying, shit that can be um, felt and sensed. So that's why the tongue is sensitive and it's a very sensitive organ. So it all is automatically going to bring you into a space of what you already created. So if you look at a sense of this is going to give you a frequency vibration. This is going to give you stability. This is going to give you, this is going to put you in a place where, okay, this is a hard ass stone and things of that nature. So where are you going when you say this is a hard ass stone? You're not only feeling it on the external, but you feel it on the internal level too. So that lets you know it's a yin and yang to everything, and we're always observing things from the yin and yang perspective. So when it comes to the tongue, because it's a very soft representation of us having how our body is created and things of that nature with the word, you know what I'm saying, aka the tongue. You know, this gets us into the aspect of it manifesting things into the world. So that's why I say in the Bible, the word was God was the word, and the word was created with God and things of that nature. So based upon it being in that tone and that frequency and things of that nature, this is when you can use your tone, your tongue, and things of that nature to manifest what we describe as material, because this is a very soft representation of material. And before we get to the external and the shelving of it, or the you know the you know what I'm saying, you get what I'm saying, it's connected to our inside and things of that nature. So this, you know, we always building things from the inside out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the tongue will represent. So now that, you know, we know that specifically when we have and view certain things give us certain thoughts and feelings. And what is that? That is going to vibrate, and that's going to take us into an area. You know what I'm saying? So whether we seeing it, whether we speaking it, or whatever, it's going to take us, our mind is going to go where our body goes, and it's going to take us into a specific area. And with us being in that specific area within the esoteric realm, now we can create a word, a sigil, a sign, a symbol that represent that vibratory frequency. And so this is what the aspect of speaking in tongues actually is. Now, you can do rituals and spells where you can call on certain names, you can call on certain angels, you can call on certain demons, which would be just the aspect of you knowing the actual aspect of direction, you know what I'm saying, and the tones that are corresponded to certain directions. So certain names and titles and things bring you down. Certain when you say oh shit or damn, you know what I'm saying, that's going to bring you down. When you say yes, that's going to bring you up. You know what I'm saying? So you can always use your tones in any frequency in any circumstance and situation you are, and speak and things of that nature. And this is a form of speaking in tongues, but really speaking in tongues is just having an idea and creating a sign and symbol above about that idea, thought, or feeling, where, you know what I'm saying, where that motherfucking shit can be a representation of that vibratory state you're in. And this is what speaking in tongues is. And when you hold on to, and when you create a symbol out of the seal, that represents a space that you're in. Y'all know when y'all be alone, right? And y'all be having them spaces where, you know, you feel all possibilities and you feel God, but it ain't really until you get around people where you might disregard your idea about whatever you felt at the moment. But no, that's an actual space that you were in. But because you may disregard it, you may think that space has nothing to do with helping you in some way, shape, or form. But it can help you, you know what I'm saying? Now, creating a tone, creating a vibratory space. Now, this is the real freedom of speech, because real freedom of speech is actually that what I'm talking about. You know, speaking in tongues the real way, and creating a sense of freedom you know what I'm saying, for you to be in as a space where you can, that it represents that from you. And only you and God know about that word, or you and God know about that space and shit like that. And now you can utilize that symbol or that sign that you created to represent that space and things of that nature, and that will always add energy to wherever space you think that is. But that's what the aspect of speaking in tongues is you creating, uh, or you being in a vibration. You know what I'm saying? You being in a vibration. Before we called it the tongue, it was just you being in a vibration that, you know what I'm saying, that did miracles for you and shit like that. Because we all be in them states, but we just don't necessarily hold on to those ideas and shit like that. And then that's when that's when we got those. That's when we disregard those ideas. So for instance, I was just on the phone with the homie, and he was asking me like, do I think, freedom of speech? What do I think about freedom of speech? And freedom of speech is basically, made up. Because this is why I'm gonna say that, because for the most part, we'll look at it as in an aspect of why couldn't people be able to do whatever they want to do and say whatever they want to say, right? And because we identify that as free will, and we all know everybody got the ability to have free will and freedom of speech to say whatever they want to say or do whatever they want to do. But obviously, that with that, based upon influence and what we have all came together upon as a mind and agreed upon, whether we liked it or not, if somebody decided to run the world based upon them knowing where those desires lead to people just doing anything and people just wanting to do anything and be, they haven't necessarily learned about togetherness and that what influence is. If it's a massive influence, say that your ass gonna go to jail, it's like that for a reason. If you do XYZ, you gonna go to jail because it's like that for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So you want to know why it's like that. And why it's like that is because in some way, shape, or form, there was a group of people that I agreed on a morality and that worked for them. And it became popular that other people wanted to uphold that morality as well. And because it became popular, that morality became popular. And when a morality becomes popular in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension, which is the metaphysical realm, aka the realm of thought, that morality has influence. Why you think if you can't just go out in the public and do whatever you want to do? Because it's an influence of thoughts and feelings that say, if you do this, you're going to go against this, and whatnot. So you know what I'm saying. If it's what's good, Bodega. But yeah, if it's a group of influences, aka thoughts and feelings that say, if you do this, you're gonna go against this, then when you go against that thing and whatever, it don't really matter about what you think on your own. It's more influence based upon whatever a bunch of people agreed upon as a morality to put you back in line based upon that being an influence. And at that point, you're not fighting with flesh and blood. You're fighting with influences. So you're not stronger than a bunch of people agreeing on an influence that's negative. So that's why you can't do freedom of whatever you think as will, because when you in that space and you're doing whatever you want to do as whatever you think as freedom of will and shit like that, aka you can't just get on out in the world and say shit like that because it's an influence there. So you gotta understand that how to integrate the right way, and that would be to add on for better purposes and shit like that. Because it ain't never about selfishness. We created this world together. So it ain't, we are talking about light language. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what we talking about. Shout out to Daphne Speaks Light. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so speaking in tongues is really just, speaking in tongues is just you being able to have a mental state. And then once you have a mental state, whatever, and then you start to vibrate with that, you're now speaking in tongues and shit like that, because the tongue is just a manifestation of what we already did spiritually first. So everything is from the internal to the external. So the tongue is a representation of a soft organ that can reach and be pleasured by the outside world. We got two of those. We got this one, the eighth house, and then we got the second house, and we got the which is Taurus, and then we got the one below the horizon, which is the eighth house, which is your, you know what I'm saying, that one. And then you can receive pleasures from that one in the eyes too, because it deals with Mars a little bit and shit like that. But because that's Aries and shit. But we got the eighth house in that. So when you, so the tongue, anytime you observe something, it's already a symbol. If I see water, I know I see water. I can be in my left brain and be like, oh, okay, it's water. But automatic. Also, I know that within, on an internal level, that water represents something. That's a space that I can go to on an internal level. So I'm astral traveling. I'm astrally there. So I'm astrally knowing that water is a frequency vibration of connection. So just like that, and anything you see within your third dimension, reality, whatever, you also have that in with the body as well. So the tongue represents us creating a way to manifest, because it represents the softer part of our organ, and one of the most, and when you deal with anything that's soft and soft, that is more soft, deals with more internal in general, because it ain't necessarily hard like this flesh or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It can have more, it's more sensitive, it have more senses to it. So when you speak words and shit like that represent states of being that you in, and that you create, this is you speaking in tongues. It's how I heal. Love this breakdown. So yeah, so that's why when you in negative situations, you want to speak life. You know what I'm saying? And when you in too much, positive, and you know what I'm saying, whatever, you want to speak into the more stable, or you want to speak into the more deaf things, and not deaf in the sense of like, you know what I'm saying, but things that can bring you equilibrium and shit like that. That's why you always got to balance your masculine, your higher chakras with your feminine chakras. Shout out to everybody that's in this bitch too. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Lady Jaga, Daphne, you know what I'm saying? Everybody in this bitch. So yeah, so speaking in tongues is just an allegory to reminding you that your tongue is very sensitive and things of that nature, and it's a part of the body that can be pleasured in some way, shape, or form, and then that can bring pleasure or pain, because some things that you speak bring negative things. Some things that you speak bring positive things. You know what I'm saying? So you got to watch what you speak and shit like that. And then it's also, the real allegory of that is to create a word, or create a vibration that you're into. Create a word, or create a word that represents a vibration, or create a word that represents a thought, or create, you know what I'm saying? So that's the shit that's what speaking in tongues is, and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Now, people do in church, when they get into church and shit like that, and they start doing, you start seeing them speaking in tongues and things, they're doing it the right way and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? But they missing the point a little bit. But what they're doing to get them out of their body, to get them out of their mind, to get them out of the shit that, you know what I'm saying? So they start speaking in different languages and shit, but it's really just an allegory of them, creating a new tongue, or a new language, or a new way to speak, you know what I'm saying? That they're trying to convey a message that ain't necessarily physical, but it's putting them in a space to be a little bit more receptive to not being limited within the body or within the mind and shit like that. And when you always not limited within the body or mind, this is when you always open to God and you open to all possibilities. And that's how you rock. So, you know, you want to speak life and things. You want to create tones, words, spells, and shit that have meanings and reasonings behind them that represent, you know, the states of beings that you're going within and shit like that. So that when, you know, because you might say, you might have a way, you might have a person that, or a place, you know, you might see yourself in a light and think you the light, you know what I'm saying? And you not the light, you know what I'm saying? Now we create the light, you know, light expires and shit like that. So we always trying to, you know what I'm saying, create new ways to represent ourselves. And the spirit ain't nothing, so that's why it's always like, we always, you know, just trying and shit like that every day. So that's what we be going through with when it comes to speaking in tongues. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the think about how sensitive the tongue is. You know what I'm saying? Think about how the sensitive, and the tongue, you know, it hits the mouth. You know, the roof, the mouth, you know what I'm saying? The teeth and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So this is your very first, this is why they say Taurus rule the senses. You know what I'm saying? It, you know, it's very sensual and it's very pleasurable, but it's connected to the internal reality of material. You know what I'm saying? And when material, y'all think this material, but we have so many materials. We have thoughts materials. We have feelings material. You know, anything that is something is a material. Now, it may be a lighter representation based upon the frequency and the vibration that it may be participating in as a material, but it's still a material. So, you know, when you have visions and things of that nature, or you have a certain thought or idea, that's a material. Now, to bring that down into the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension is to create a sign, seal, symbol, sigil, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Jordan, you know what I'm saying? You Jordan. You know, you want, you know what I'm saying? You could reach out, you know, that's the air trine and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, but everything is a sign and symbol, you know, in the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension, you know. So, you know, y'all, a lot of the times, what up, endless abilities? A lot of the times we be thinking backwards and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? We'll be trying to get the thing to but the thing itself is just a reminder of the space that we were in to create it, if you get what I'm saying. So speaking with the tongue, and the tongue being a very soft organ, you know what I'm saying, it's a representation of that soft tissue that we use as the word or as vibratory frequency to manifest ourselves down into the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. So that's why it's always good to keep your own book of spells, or your own book of or your own, you know, your own symbols and things of that nature that you can keep, because when you do use your tongue to speak and shit like that, like I said, it's correlated with the 2nd house, pleasure, you know, and also it can equate to pain and things of that nature if you don't know how to use it right. You know what I'm saying? And so it's sensitive, you know. So speaking in tongues is just you being able to take an idea and vibrate with it. And the way you do that within the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension, aka taking that and actually speaking that, is a reflection of what you're doing on the internal, aka when you have a vibe or a thought, you know what I'm saying, that represents a certain state of being that you like to vibrate in, or you like to, you know what I'm saying, or you like to vibrate in. You know what I'm saying? For instance, if you like, what's a ghost shawty, it's your birthday, or something like that, that's going to put you in a specific vibration. And now you're speaking in tongues. Now, the allegory of you bringing that down to the 1 through and 3rd dimension is sealing it or creating a symbol or a sign or sigil. So that's one thing I'm gonna teach in my class a little bit further down the line and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So make sure y'all seek those clubhouse membership and shit like that. That's gonna come up this year. Daphne said that's why Daphne speaks light. That's why I call it soul language, because it's not always light. That's why I call it soul language, because it's not always light. Right? It's not always light. Yeah, what's light is what's physical, but but it is light and weight and shit like that. And when we corresponded to that, that internal space that we're coming from to create, that is the soul force. So, you know what I'm saying, that, it is a soul resonance, it is that. And then when we create that energy, we create what, that is by trying to represent ourselves as a spirit and as our mentalities and women mentalities, aka our thoughts and feelings. What's up, baby? So yeah, so speaking in tongues is powerful. You know what I'm saying? So even if you and you gotta know though, you gotta know when you too in your own, in your own lower chakras and shit like that, because you may need to have words and correspondence that correlate to the more masculine chakras. So that would be like masculine terms and names and shit like that. And then if you're too much into your higher chakras, you know what I'm saying, and you need to be a little bit more stiller, you might need to have words and terms that resonate with more stability and more, more structure and resonance and more containing and shit like that. So that's the aspect of speaking in tongues. So the tongue is sensitive. Like I said, it just represents an organ like a heart, but it's almost on it's on the external side of our body. So that means that it's closer it's a closer physical representation of something that can be used to manifest things that are more correlated to what's on the internal, if you get what I'm saying. And what's more correlated on the internal is more softer, more soft-spoken, more sensitive, and they can bring pleasure or pain. And we can see that because language, communication creates worlds, creates correspondence, creates intellect, creates materialization and shit like that. So yeah, this is speaking in tongues. So speak life into your motherfucking life. You know what I'm saying? And don't be speaking limitations over your goddamn life. You're not limited. You ain't shit. You ain't none. Your spirit and the body creating these materials, and the more that you know that, you keep creating, no matter what circumstance, situation, limitation, obligation, boundary, restriction, limit is within your space and shit like that. And you create that, and you deal with that. You name that. You taste that. You see how that feels. You know what I'm saying? And that is, you create a field of reality and shit like that. But yeah, all right. Get y'all lesson again.